mom used to always tell me to take pictures. You can always reminisce and reflect in a more tangible way. I actually have a lot of pictures. The sad thing is, I have no pictures with my father. Father's Day 2023, literally some months ago. I called up my dad, I told him Happy Father's Day. And then something came in my head and I was like, Dad, do we have any pictures together? And he's like, oh yeah, we got pictures with you and the family, with your grand. And I'm like, no, pictures of just you and me. Do we have any pictures together? And he said, no, son, I don't think so. And I was like, you don't find that strange that you're in your mid-60s, I just hit my 40s, and we don't have one single picture together? And there was just complete silence. So what I did, I asked him, I'm like, look, I want to document something. Us, you and I, having a sit-down conversation about some questions, some unanswered questions that I have about my childhood, and also the reason why we don't have a picture together. And he said he was cool with doing that. So I'm pretty much on my journey to discovering what that conversation is gonna lead to, what I'm gonna find. But ultimately, yeah, I'm on my way right now to LAX, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
First stop, it's going to be Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines. People, check around your seats. Make sure nothing fell out of your pockets. Your keys, your license, your ticket. First stop, Southwest Airlines and Allegiant.
Railway area station in the terminal, Southwest flight 6450 with service to Phoenix.
I'm here at Austin Airport, waiting on my flight to Palm Beach International. Got like a 2-hour layover, so I'm just kicking it, just waiting. Here in West Palm, about to start this journey, or midway through the journey. Part of the journey was getting here, so thank God. It was a long day, pretty much flew the whole day, over 10 hours of waiting and flying and all that stuff. But I'm here. Thanks be to God. I think this is my mom right here pulling up. Otherwise, this person wouldn't be pulling up like this. See? So I'm here. Finally got my mom here.
Yep. I told Key they need to put some more lights out here to this stuff right here, but people can't see.
It was, were there lights before?
I ain't never had none.
They ain't never had lights out?
See how the thing is? That's what I'm saying.
Morning. I'm about to get ready and go meet up with my dad right now so that we can have that conversation. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. Like I said before, he doesn't know the questions I'm gonna ask. I don't know his responses, obviously, but the main thing is that we're gonna sit down and have a conversation, and ultimately we'll get our first picture together. I'm gonna start to load up the car with the production equipment. I'm a one-man cast and crew, so it's always been like that, but I love it. All right, got everything loaded. That's my main camera right there. That's set. I got it pre-set up. That way it's a lot easier when I start shooting, especially being a one-man cast and crew. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of dark. Got my light and sound, more camera equipment, batteries, all that stuff in there. Let's go.
No, you can't see it, but it's a juice place right over there.
Hold on, let me get this stuff out. What's up, boss? How you feeling?
How you looking like that?
You looking at her more than me. I already
You
got
got everything?
Yeah. Here we go. You ready?
I'm good. Let's go. Let's do this.
First of all, I want to appreciate you, taking out the time to sit down with me. These bugs, man.
Could have had that fan, but it made a sound.
So good. So describe Belgrade. Where you from? Where were you born? And all that stuff.
I was born in Belle Lake, Florida, in the year 1961.
Okay.
At Glaze General Hospital,
Better
known as Killer General. Don't. Yeah, that was what they called it back then, because I guess people felt like they lost more of their loved ones than they could have saved. But it's here they.
So, where'd you live at? Like, what was it? Like a certain area?
From my childhood days, I grew up in Okeechobee Project, number 2, right? And at first, we stayed in the biggest white house on the project because my mom worked in the office, the rent office right there. And then when they started developing the project, we moved to 19 Carver Street. And I stayed there from 19 Carver Street from that time until finishing school and on my way to the military. So yeah, there was a lot of good days on Carver Street. A lot of good days.
Do you know the name of those projects today?
It was Okeechobee Project number 1, which was number 2. And it was Okeechobee Project in what is now Osceola.
Oh, okay.
On Avenue Hill in Beverly now.
Okay.
But that was mostly the Hispanic people stayed at, and then most of the black people stayed in Osceola. Project number 2.
Was it the hospital? Was that off of where you were born? Was that off of Main Street?
Well, back in them days, that wasn't a 4-lane highway. That used to be a 2-lane highway.
Okay.
And it used to be lined with Australian pine trees. So they I don't know, I can't tell you exactly when they constructed the new Glaze General, but it was like that was a labor camp, So you can imagine, but we didn't have the best of everything. But as time progressed, they got with the program and they started putting up decent buildings and stuff. Okay. But yeah, I can tell you what way the Glaze General was before I got there. No.
Okay. We used to hang out. You have like a hangout spot.
Oh yeah, man.
Randy Burton or something like that.
Nah, Randy can hang out with us. He wasn't built that way.
Where you used to hang out at?
See, we used to hang out in the project. We always stayed in the project. We never came to Belle Glade that we were going to school or whatever. It was like you could say we was in a game, really, to be honest with you. We had a little G game, and we would hang out right there in the corner of the store every day after school.
Okay.
We end either up on the basketball court We used to kind of have this building they called assembly building. It was the old place where everybody came and gathered and played cards, all the old timers or whatever.
Right.
And they had like a little restaurant in there. It was ran by Mr. Po'boy and my aunt Petey. She used to work in it also. That was the mama.
Oh, okay. So describe your family structure, like as a child, like what?
We was a close knit family. We didn't have a big family, but
Right.
we was a very, very close knit family. Everybody would come over on Sundays and they'd eat breakfast and dinner on a Sunday only, and then it happened because we like when we I forgot to tell you, but when we was in the beginning of the project in the white building, all of us stayed in the same house. All my aunts, all of us stayed in the same house. Until everybody got grown, then like they went on about their own merry ways. But yeah, we just no big family, we made do with what we had.
Right. How was your relationship with your father?
I didn't really know my father until like maybe I was in the 10th, maybe the 10th, 11th grade. Yeah, he didn't come around. Unless, he come around when he would be drunk all up. Then my mom was always like, take me in the back room and shield me away from him. I don't know why, but yeah, I didn't really have a good relationship with my dad.
So you had a strong relationship with your mom.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, she was my mom. She was all our mom and dad.
Exactly. Do you have any pictures with your father?
I have seen pictures of him in his house, but I don't have any of them. No.
Yeah. No, like with you and him.
No.
So you don't have.
He wasn't really in my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I hear you was extremely intelligent in high school.
Pretty much.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I can get by. Could have been. I could have did better, But you go along through high school and you play around,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the world hits you, you wish you had done better.
Right.
Back in that day, because
Right.
it affects you later on in life. If you ain't,
Right.
I was just lucky enough to be like able to go into the military, and that really changed me.
Right.
Because I don't know. I think I was on the verge of selling drugs if I had not went in the military.
Right.
Because that was what everybody was doing then. But not so much everybody was doing. That was a way of making ends meet.
What branch of the military did you serve in?
I did 6 years in the United States Army. I started out at basic training in Fort Gordon. I did all my basic training and my AIT in Fort Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first duty station was in Fort Stewart, Georgia. I think I might have stayed at Fort Stewart maybe in 6 or 8 months.
Okay.
And then after that little stunt, I was shipped over to Korea.
Oh, okay.
For like 18 months.
Okay.
And then after I left Korea, I ended up in California. And that's why what they call ETS, that's like when you done on your time.
Right.
That's where you ETS from. Then they ship you back home.
How old was I when you and my mom separated? How old was I?
I think you might have been maybe 5 or 6. You couldn't have been 9. You had to you maybe younger, because I remember we used to get upset in the morning and clean up, and then we used to drink beer afterward.
Who is we? Who is we?
We used to drink. Your mom was going to work. She didn't know.
So you telling me I used to drink?
Yeah.
I ain't even know about it.
Yeah, you used to drink.
Man, everybody know that I ain't never had a sip of alcohol in my life, man.
Yeah. That's what you told me. You should have did your research at first.
Oh, man, I ain't have no idea.
Yeah.
I ain't have
no
idea.
drink, but I just gave you a little sip for going to get it from me out of the icebox. But yeah.
So I was about to ask you, do you have a fun memory between us? Are those the fun memories?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We spent a lot of time together, one on one.
Mm-hmm.
But you was much smaller. You weren't old enough to realize.
Right.
To put things together. But yeah,
So whenever I would go and visit you and stuff like that, we,
Mm-hmm.
Did we never took any pictures together though, right?
We never took any pictures together. I think, yeah. I came home after you was born for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go back. I think I went back. I think I was in Georgia then. Yeah, I think I was in Georgia. You know where they let me come from Korea.
Right.
But yeah, I came home when you was born for a couple of days, but we didn't get to the stage where we was going to get a chance to get pictures together.
Right. Do you remember not coming to pick me up during the holiday visit? You remember that?
Holidays?
There was one holiday visit where you didn't come pick me up. You remember that?
What day was that? What holiday was that?
I was supposed to come over there with you for Christmas. It was like a Christmas holiday. And I was waiting outside.
And where was that?
You're supposed to come pick me up.
I know nothing about that.
I was waiting. You remember where
of a 6th Street?
In West Palm, there was it was a department store or something like that. And you were supposed to come pick me up and I was supposed to go over there.
To the other lady?
Yeah. And then
that's
you don't remember that?
That don't stick with me. I normally remember stuff, but it might have happened. I apologize if I didn't pick you up. I don't know what the reason.
No, yeah. I mean, believe me, I remember.
I bet you remember.
Yeah. Do you know that I was coming home in police cars at the age of 12?
I didn't know you was coming home and no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I did know you was in the store stealing cookies or chips or whatever.
Right.
And that was that time?
Yeah, that was yeah. So
she called me and told me about that, but I'm like, young people that would
and that's the thing. I think it was just that when you that young, you just trying to fit in with your friends.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Yeah.
You don't have a sense of like, oh, like I need to be wise about this because in the future this ain't gonna, you just want to run with your boys and stuff like that, and that's what I was doing pretty much.
But she told me, she threatened to bring you back to me because you just stole a pack of cookies. I done stole plenty packs of cookies.
Yeah.
Man might have been hungry.
Yeah.
That ain't nothing. I mean, as long as he ain't got a record,
right.
He all right.
How important?
But she did not tell me that you was in a police car.
Yeah, well, they brought me home. Like, they didn't press charges or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And at that age, when I was in the store and the lady was like, or the police officer asked the lady, she was like, do you want to press charges? And I'm looking at them like, what the hell does press charges mean? So I
you didn't want to press charges.
But they brought me back in the police car to the crib. And,
so what she say? She was livid.
She was livid. It always seemed like whenever she had something for me, like she had like a brand new bunk bed set and all this stuff. Whenever she had something for me, I would always do
screw it up.
It was just a weird coincidence of that stuff happening. How important is schooling and getting your education is to you?
It's very important. I tell my children all the while, I mean all of them, that you need to apply yourself and because you see other people in other countries, they don't have it nowhere near as good as you do. And I instill in them, those people that live in the other third world countries, when they come to the United States, they come for a purpose. They come with a purpose. Right. And that purpose is to do better. And they do that. And I'm always telling them, man, if you don't apply yourself, those same Haitian friends of yours, same Jamaican friends, Cuban friends, they're going to be your boss one day. Right. If you don't straighten up. And it's very important. You got to, especially now, man. You ain't got, if you don't know computers, you lost. Right. You completely lost.
Do you remember when you said you would support me 100% when I went to college?
I think I may remember that. Mm-hmm. But you got to understand, back in them days, I mean, money wasn't like just like flowing around freely. Right. I think, what was that? When you was in school, was I working with the county?
At UCF, that was 90. 99, because I graduated from high school.
98. I remember you and Keith, girl. You and Keith was up there
Right,
together.
right.
Yeah, but I don't make excuses. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. And I mean, I'm sure I had a reason that it didn't happen. But
Yeah, right. But see, that's one thing that I respect about you is that like you don't give excuses, you don't shy away, you acknowledge that okay, it was my fault. That's and honestly, I think that's the main reason why we have a relationship again. You know what I'm saying? Because like you got many people out there, many fathers out there. They still won't swallow their pride. They still want to act like, oh well, this and that, and well, this happened. And it's like, come on, man, just say,
yeah,
it's okay. We
it's life.
we hear and like some people, some sons, some daughters, they might not even have that. Oh, you know what? I need to wait. I need to wait on my dad, or I need to wait because they the grown ones. So why I need to talk to them about it? You know what I'm saying? Why can't they?
Yeah.
So, but
So
that's
they feel like the adult should have came and addressed
right.
it. Yeah.
So that leads me to the other question. Do you remember that phone call after all those years that passed, that went by, the college years, when I went to Cincinnati and I was working at the Cincinnati Shakespeare Festival. One of my friends who was a part of the festival with me, she told me, she's like, Reggie, today is Father's Day. She's like, you need to call your dad and wish him a happy Father's Day. And my attitude was, why should I call him? He's been here all these years, this, that, and the other. And she like, look, let me tell you something. Whatever he did or didn't do for you, that means nothing because my dad is 6 feet under right now. And she's like, I wish that I could even pick up the phone. And she was like, regardless of what, he's still your dad, and he's part of the reason why you're here right now. Call him and tell him Happy Father's Day. It took me everything. If I didn't pick up that phone, I don't even know if we're having this conversation right
Probably
now.
not. Yeah.
Because she, man, I thank God for her, but because she taught me something about life, she taught me something about myself. So I picked up that phone, I called you, and your reaction to hearing my voice, it was like, because you hadn't heard my voice in years.
Yeah.
It had like so much time. How did you feel during that when I called you?
And you feel like most any parent would feel you haven't heard from the child, his only child at that,
Right.
And it's like it's kind of sad because you feel like you could have done better. You could have, but sometimes it's some things that go in your life that you have no control over. And, I ain't the type of person that push issues.
Right.
That's what you want to do. I'm not going to argue with you, and I'm not going to go back and forth with you. That's what you want to do.
Right.
And if you feel like that's what you need to do, then hey. I can't stop it,
Right.
Your stick up, Ken.
Right. That's it. That's
That's that phone.
Put it on silent. We almost done. Otherwise, it's gonna keep going.
Okay.
Cool. We almost done. That was in 2003. That phone call.
2003.
Yeah, that phone call was in 2003. Do you know what happened on my 25th birthday?
No, what happened on your 25th birthday?
So I get a call from my mom, and she tells me happy birthday, but she starts crying.
Why?
That's exactly what. That's. I'm like, why are you crying? And I'm like, it's my birthday. Everything is good. Why are you crying? And she's like, son, where we from, it's very rare that we see our kids make it to 25.
Oh, should that be a stick up, Ken?
Oh, dang.
So,
Yeah.
it wasn't
But
it wasn't like it was a major thing that happened, but it was another thing to that whole thing of obviously having both parents present will kind of like maybe reduce the fact of thinking that way, but because like a lot of my cousins without fathers, without parents and stuff, they ran the streets and stuff like that. And
but that, as far as I was concerned, that was never one of my concerns about you running the streets because that wasn't how you were brought up. So
right,
I never you the one in the streets and started doing that, I'd have been shocked. That wasn't how you were brought up.
right. That wasn't how I was brought up, and also, you knew I had a strong mother figure in my life, and that's another thing that I respect about you, man. Like you acknowledge that she, regardless of what type of relationship y'all had or she had with other people, with you and her mom and like you knew that she had me,
Covered. Yeah, I could go to bed, sleep easily every night peacefully because I knew you was in good hands. I never had to worry about you,
Right.
and because I'm like, she had already told me. I mean, she had her ways about you.
Right.
No, she is. If you was her only one, and that's how she treated you. As if you was all, and they're like, there was gonna never be any more. I'm like, hey, come on, man, give me a break,
yeah. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Is there anything else that you want to ask me, or you got any questions or anything like that?
I should have been asking you a question as you were asking me, but now I got a brain frog.
Yeah. Of course, you always have me like that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I'm extremely proud of you and what you become. Because I mean, it could have easily went left.
Right.
You could have easily went out there and much. Reggie, and who I think, a while back, Randy asked me when you was out. I said, Reggie, out in California. He said, you coming back? I doubt it. No, it was Fred. Fred asked me that. And yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I doubt if you ever come back to Fairway to live, state of Florida to live. But yeah, you got that doing what you do. You're doing well out there. I told him you was in the movie star movies and all that. He was like proud of you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. And part of that reason why that is because, obviously that upbringing of my mom and her having that core on me. But the years when we started our relationship, from that phone call, 2003, that allowed me to, be a little bit more focused because my friend had taught me something that she was just like, look, man, I can't call my dad, who's dead.
Yeah.
And sometimes in life, man, a lot of times in life, we don't think about that stuff until people are gone. And I don't want to be that person living in regret, being like, I wish I would. I wish I could. Just over a simple phone call or a simple, So I'm really grateful for her. I'm really grateful for you. I appreciate, you and how you come around and opened up and acknowledged that stuff. It's very powerful. It really is. And sometimes,
you don't got no, it's okay. It's okay, man. It's okay. You don't got no flamboyant daddy. I'm just so country bunking that I'm very proud of you. I mean, I couldn't ask for no better. So I never went to jailhouse. I never had to come to the school. Never had to have nobody else bring you home. And there's a lot of people I know a lot of my classmates who wish they had a son like I had, Yeah, I mean, because it ain't bragging when it's true,
Yeah.
But it's okay to let your emotions go.
Yeah, I know. And I appreciate you being the way you've been,
It's okay.
I had a friend 2 days ago, yesterday actually, he posted something on Instagram about how his dad has been dead for the past 3 years. And it was ironic because I came out here to have this conversation with you.
Mm.
And then he said that, and I told him, I'm like, man, look, you stay strong, do what your dad told you to do, and you got it. Just keep going. And I appreciated his message, and it made me realize how blessed that I am that I still have my dad.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, man. And then with this, I guess we can take our first picture.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. So I'll go over there and get our first picture together.
How you gonna do that?
It's just, I mean, I'll do it in the editing. I'll just come over here and be like right here. Man, me and my dad, we got our first picture together. In what, 40-something years?
40-something years.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, keep going. I love you more.
All right.
Love you more. Man, can I get a drink now?
Yeah.
Some pressure to be up on them cameras, man. And then, like, you know, you weren't even asking the hard questions.
That, I mean, you know, I thought that was.
My mic off? Come on.
Can you tell us your name?
My name is Dr. Jamie Geronimo Vela.
Cool. So, Jamie, do you have any pictures with your father?
Well, I do have a couple of pictures, but it was my father and my brothers and me.
So it's just.
So I don't have any pictures with me and him by ourselves.
So that's what we're focused on, just you and
my dad. Yeah, I don't have any pictures with just the two of us.
Is there a reason why, or?
Well, it's my perception of the reason I think it is, you know, my parents were divorced when I was very young, so he wasn't around much. So I don't remember that much of a time where me and him were ever together that much. And I was always kind of a disappointment to him compared to my other brothers because, I mean, even to this day, I do things my way, right? I'm different than my brothers. They're more sensible, disciplined. They're just smarter about their choices than I was back then. And it doesn't matter what I did. I was always trying to do stuff to impress them, but it never really worked. So he didn't really spend any time with me. Not like, because my brother tells me in stories when they used to have conversations and would talk and everything. I never had that with my dad. He never talked to me.
You think he was that way with you because you were different?
Yeah, it was a disappointment to him.
You were a disappointment because you were different?
Because I was different, yes.
Wow.
I wanted to do things differently than my other brothers. The only thing that I was good at was I pursued education, which he was big on education, but that's the only, but I didn't really do that until later. But the thing is, you know, I get it. We grew up and he wasn't around much. Me and him didn't have a real connection because of his disappointment and in the decisions I would make, you know, getting into trouble, you know, just because I had a problem with authority. I didn't like doing what people told me to do. And I would get in trouble. And my other brothers were smart. They were making the right decisions, doing the right things sensibly, career-wise and financially than I was.
So even at an early age, though, like, you know, when you're a child, when you don't know better and you're different, he still had that insight, that mindset about you, that's just tough, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that because it's like you're young, you're a kid, you know.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that now?
Well, at the time growing up back then, I didn't pay much attention to it. But later on in life, and then, you know, presently, it's like I've come to terms with it. I mean, it's like I just know he would not, even right now, I finished my PhD, pursuing acting and everything. I still feel like he would not be proud. You know, I hate the word proud, to be proud of me, but I still think he would just think I was a disappointment and would probably have nothing to do with me.
Really? Even with you accomplishing all that stuff?
Yep. Because I did it in what would be his mindset the wrong way. Because in his mindset, it shouldn't have took me this long to do it. Just like I had this conversation with my brother, it's like, even he, because he has the mindset of my father did, is you graduate right away, you go to work, you make a career, make money and everything, you set up, you buy a house, you get a family. I didn't do that. I pursued my dreams,
Right.
what I wanted to do, which in their eyes is not smart. So I've gone through life with, struggling, barely getting by, but I was doing what I love to do.
Right.
And I had to point that out to my brothers, like, look, you guys see me as a failure. But because I'm not making this big money and everything like they are, and I don't have much, but I don't need much. So they have the mindset of my dad. That's why he was so connected to them and not me. Because I wanted to pursue the dreams. I wanted to do something that I love doing.
Right.
But that's not in the disciplined mindset, career goals plan.
Right.
I like to do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think outside the box. I don't follow that disciplined trajectory track and granted, I don't blame him for having that mindset. I mean, he grew up, having to deal with gangs, right? In southern Texas.
Oh, your dad, was he a part of them, or?
No, he wasn't a part of them, but he had to deal with them always trying to recruit him and him fighting back and saying no. So he went into the military when he was 17. He had his mom sign for him, and he got out of there. So he retired Air Force. Right. He was a career goal and while he was doing that, he was getting his master's and he was working on his PhD when he died.
Right.
So so at this point, I've said, you know what? I'm not worried about, did I make my parents proud of me, my brothers proud of me? It's not about them.
Right.
I focus on, you know what? It's me.
Mm-hmm.
Did I do the right things?
Right.
Am I doing what I love to do and what I want to do? Yes. I don't make a lot of money. I don't have a lot, but I don't need a lot. That's not a priority for me. Priority for me is to live in every day doing something that I love to do and making a difference.
What do you think allowed you to have that insight? Because that's a great insight to have. Granted, with you going through all that stuff you've gone through, where does that come from? After you've been through all that stuff you've been through with your dad and him not approving of you, even now when you've accomplished all this stuff that you have accomplished, getting a PhD, that's a hard thing to do. So where do you get that in you to be like, you know what, regardless of what he would have thought, regardless of what they think, I'm still good with what I've done, and none of that stuff bothers you? Where does that come from?
It probably came to me because of God. Because God is my father. And that's the way I approach life now. God is my father. Yes, he was my biological father, but the only person that I worry about doing the right thing for is God.
Right.
And in my mindset, God is okay with what I'm doing because I feel like I've made a difference in lots of different areas of life.
Right.
And so God is my father. So, and with that perspective, I don't worry about pride and somebody being proud of me and it's irrelevant because I try not to have an ego, although I think everybody has an ego on something.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at it as being confident in certain things. But
Right. Do you think you said those two words that's very important in this documentary, pride and ego?
mm-hmm.
Do you think that within your dad that he embodied those words and that kind of held him back from being as he should be with you?
I think that I definitely didn't make him proud. And I feel like it's his pride that prevented him from actually, acknowledging me as doing, just because he has a mindset and you're supposed to do it that way.
Right.
And any other way is wrong.
Right.
You're messing up. So I feel like he was not proud of me. And that pride and the thing is now, he's passed away from cancer. So I can't even go back and have a conversation with him.
Sorry to hear.
So to find out, even though I'm pretty sure he would not be proud of me and would probably still not have anything to do with me to this day, even if he was alive. But you know what? I've come to terms with that.
Right.
I'm like, it's okay. I'm not here to try and impress anybody. I'm not here to make people proud of me. I'm here to do what I can in life and make a difference. And the only person I look to that I feel like I want to be worthy of is God. And he's the only one I focus on. Trying to do the right thing is for him, or God, Spirit.
Awesome.
So that's what I focus on in what I do.
I commend you for that, man, because it's very hard to go through that type of childhood and still have that strength within to continue to believe what you believe, although certain people in your past wanted you to believe other things and do things as the way they thought it should be. Still finding your own truth, your own self, that's what matters. And regardless of what happens, like you said, you've made amends and you've done it the way that you wanted to do it, and that's all that matters. So you keep going with that, man.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes, with all everything out there, it's hard for it not to come up.
Right.
So those feelings will come up.
Right.
That I'm a big disappointment to him.
Right.
Because he's been dead for over a decade, but I still, those thoughts will come into my head.
Right.
That I'm a big disappointment. Mm-hmm. So I've got to constantly tell myself that I am not.
Right. Exactly.
Because of God.
So Shannon Johnson, how you doing today, sir?
Great, sir.
Awesome.
I'm doing well.
Awesome. So, do you have any pictures with your father?
Unfortunately, no. No pictures with my father.
And is there a reason? Is there a reason why, or?
Yeah, the reason, and it goes back. I didn't grow up with my father. I didn't know him. I only heard of him, as strange as that might sound, but never grew up with him. I saw him, but he wasn't in my life.
Why wasn't he in your life?
Well, I think that story starts, maybe I was 6 months old when my mother separated from my father, or divorced. Yeah, and I was too young to actually know who he was at the time. But I heard a lot about him. A lot about him.
Right. When you say you heard a lot about him, it seems like a smile. You got a little smile on your face. Can you tell us what's that smile's coming from?
Yeah. I had a father, and of course my father has past, the last maybe 10 years, I heard things about him. And there wasn't more so good things, but I would, as I got older, I would see him. And seeing him, it wasn't what I really expected. Yeah, it wasn't what I really expected. And, you know, my mother didn't speak any negativity about my father. But the stories I heard kind of dictated the narrative of who he was as a man and where I come from.
Gotcha. So there's no childhood memories of him being with him, no picture, camera, us, you know, you guys being together, anything of that sort.
No memories whatsoever. Now, there is one memory, and I can share this memory with you. It had something to do with child support. My mother was telling me some things that happened at the court, and my father decided to pay a visit. And within that visit, this is very interesting. Within that visit, he was allowed to take me uptown on the bus. He took me uptown on the bus, and I can remember vividly, I may have been 8 years old or so. We're riding on the bus. He's asking me questions about, you know, how are you, da 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 da. You know, he don't know me. And he says, you know, you can call me dad, son. Now, you know, I don't know this guy. And I'm young, trying to understand. At the same time, I have no negativity, no negative feelings about him. But he said, you can call me dad, son. And I'm like, okay. And he pulls out this toy that he bought. And it was this dump truck. So he didn't know me. He brought a gift, but I was way too in age for that. So that's the only memory that I have being with him.
Right.
Other than that, as I got older, I would see him. And I would see him around town in some of the most unpleasant places.
Gotcha. So you never really had the point to like, you know, you guys didn't hang out. It never even got to that point. Because I know with me, like I hung out with my dad, but, you know, I would go and visit here and there. But at the same time, for whatever reason, we never got a picture together. Do you think that it's just something within that male structure? I mean, it doesn't have to be related towards ethnicity, but just that male structure in general that doesn't allow us to open up to something like that? Or what do you think?
Right. There's a dynamic to it. When you really look at the structure of the family, I grew up in what they call a matriarchal household, which has to do with the mother raising the kids. You have what they call a patriarchal household as well, which is the father raising the kid. But my father wasn't there. My mother raised me. When you look at the family dynamic and structure, looking at it nowadays, there's a lot of sons, daughters, and their fathers are absent from their life because either they don't know who they are, they're running from their responsibilities. Second, they have some challenges. And from this side or from this vantage point, I don't know the challenges I know some of them, but I don't know the challenges that most fathers face. But with my father, he was an alcoholic. And that pretty much, from my vantage point, looking at it from the outside, it pretty much destroyed his life in terms of, from what I heard, the fighting, the going to jail, the different kind of things. And I said within myself, look, I'm not going to be like that. You know, those are the memories that I grasp.
That's a good point. It leads me to one like final little question. With doing this documentary, this interview with me, do you does it make you want to kind of, I'm pretty sure you already got pictures with your sons and stuff like that, but does it open your mind even more to like, man, maybe we got to capture these memories, maybe, talking to other people, maybe that'll kind of, affect someone else and be like, hey man, maybe you should,
Yeah. To your point, yes, it is so important, as a father, as a husband, as a friend, to just be there with your son. These are moments you can't get back from infant, toddler, to a youth, to a young adult. These are moments you can't get back. And what I mean by that is that there are a lot of men who think they have time. Oh, I can come back and I can step in to the child's life at any time, where what you're doing is you're taking a great risk. And that risk has to do with you don't know him or her and you haven't developed a relationship. So now you become an outsider. As it relates to taking pictures, I do have pictures, a lot of pictures with my son, because those was the moments
you didn't have and you wanted to capture with him.
I wanted to capture with him.
Not to speak for you or anything like that, but I know that's the type of person you are.
Right.
I go around and I ask people, and a lot of people that went through situations in life, and they had with as them being children, as them being kids or whatever, the situations could have been dramatic, traumatic, whatever they may be. When they have kids of their own, they always want to protect the fact of their kids not going through what they went through.
Right.
So that's why I say that.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things, as like I said, being a father, you recognize the unique position that you're in.
Right.
That position is one that you're a leader. They're looking up to you for stability and security.
Right.
You have a unprecedented role or an extraordinary role in their life, meaning you can't be absent when it comes to your children.
Right.
It means the world to me. Even when I see my kid taking pictures, me running in front of the camera, or me just touching him, or those things are important. And I have memories that's etched in time. And not only that, I have proof, evidence that I was there, because I have photos.
Exactly.
What's up? What's up? What's your name?
Giovanni.
Giovanni. Nah, bro. Appreciate your time.
Of course.
And I know you're working right now, but I really appreciate your time taken out to help with the documentary and everything like that. So tell us, do you have any pictures with your father?
I do not. I do not have not one single picture.
Is there a reason
Why?
why, or can you elaborate as to why you don't have any?
Just, I would say just as I was born, parents separated. One went the other way, and then I stayed with my mother, of course.
Right.
Throughout the year, it was never really a relationship built between us. I would say all the way until I was about 17, I would say, is when we actually kind of had some bonding time.
Right.
But even then, it was no photos, no pictures, or anything like that.
Okay. So it just never came up at all?
No.
Was there like a distance?
Yes. So our backstory, there was never that initial confirmation of father and son. We knew it, but there was never that connection. It wasn't until later on. I mean, we knew it. It just wasn't. There was never an involvement from his side, neither from my side.
How do you feel about that?
I would say the absence of him can bring. I would say it's a emotional damage. I feel that it takes away um, from what you should have had as growing up, the father figure,
Right.
the parent, the person you can go to as a man. So overall, I would say just a lot of emotional damage that kind of um, makes it difficult to even conversate about even having a picture or anything.
Right. Did you know if your father had a lot of pride, ego? Is that
I would say his ego. I would say.
right?
I would say is not necessarily that I think he was more concerned about making that initial approach.
Mm,
He, in a sense, felt, I would say, from what I could feel from the time I spent with him, he wasn't. He was concerned about if I would accept him or not.
so what did you feel? Did you feel, I mean, obviously you're a kid, you're younger.
It's,
Did you feel that you should have approached him? Like, or did you feel that that's the responsibility of the parent to do something like that?
I would say at a young age, it would be more on the parents, on the
Uh-huh.
father. Yeah, I would say that as we grow older, we need, as young men and women, we need to take that pride away and and even if it puts us in a different situation, or maybe we get that pushback.
Right.
But I would say it would be beneficial to do the first initial if it hasn't been done, because you never know what outcome can come about.
I completely agree. Does it cause you to be different with your kids? Like, do you take pictures with your kids now because of?
Oh, of course I did. To be honest, I never really thought about it. It wasn't until we had our initial conversation about your documentary that where I kind of really, went back and I realized that I do take pictures with my kids
Right.
by themselves or as a group, whatever the case may be. But it gives me the push to be a better father for them. Therefore, they can grow up with that, with a different mindset than myself.
Right. Is there any, if you had the opportunity right now to reach out to your father and just have a conversation with him, and kind of like what I did, to just have some unanswered questions from your childhood um, answered, would you do that, or how do you feel about that?
Of course, I do it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it.
Awesome. Awesome. That's awesome, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, and this is something that we're all growing with. Like I said, I like I was telling the other guys, I appreciate you guys because it's allowing me to grow even more, and I've discovered a lot about that dynamic between the father and the son and all that stuff in general, and why like we don't do certain things, and I'm just starting to find more that it is about the pride and the ego. Like when I was talking to my dad, I told him, I'm like, so if I hadn't made that phone call to him back in Cincinnati, he even said it himself, then we probably wouldn't be sitting right there having that conversation. So and all that is pride, that ego,
Of course.
so is there any message you want to send to the people out there who may run into this subject or who may see this film, and anything you want to say to them from your experience?
I would say that there's nothing in life that that should allow you to be separated, especially if your father or your parents are still living. Um, it's not worth delaying a day, a minute, or a second. Happiness is within itself if you can figure out whatever disagreements you guys might have had, or maybe just no involvement in itself. Um, it's worth putting that aside and living, an extra day with your parents, because you never know what could happen. It could literally change in a heartbeat. It within a split second, they could be gone, and the opportunity could be lost forever.
Right.
My opportunity was lost, but I'm here with my kids, and I'm ensuring that they can have that father figure.
And that's what it's about. It's about us learning and not continuing that cycle of, not approaching or having the pride, having the ego. That's the cycle that we want to break, because ultimately we break that cycle. It's exactly what you just said. We can be more free within ourselves, that personal freedom, that growth within ourselves, to be like, you know what? I don't have to, regret because I tried. I made that attempt, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. At the end of the day, it's all about making the attempt, trying, and doing your part. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
JQ. What's up, big dog? How you doing?
We're doing fine, thank you.
Cool, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking your time out to help me with this. And like I said before, I asked you if you had any pictures with your father, and you told me you didn't. Can you explain why?
Well, the situation started at a young age. My mother and him got a little rocky, start. We are the last one of the first three, actually. At one point, my father was a classic macho Mexican guy. His background always been, kind of like rough. He pushed my mother at one point to actually abandon, the phone and us at one point. One of my brothers and sisters go to live with my grandmother when I go to live with his aunt, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Even I remember one of my relatives mentioned it, that he attempted to actually even stabbing her with a screwdriver.
Wow.
I never got really the complete story, but knowing him over the years, kind of like going in the direction. Growing up with these beautiful people that take care of you, there was already really older people already. Like I say, was my mother and my mother's grandmother's sister. We can say that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They take care of me growing up. My father, he was showing once in a great while.
Uh-huh.
And the sad part is never try to be consistent, try to be what you expecting for a father,
Right.
And I was asking too much for him. I was just asking to actually spend some time with him. And actually, I never got that part.
So you actually asked him to spend time with you
I was in a young age when I asked that part, yes.
And he just...
And he was telling me, because his work related was in a construction classic, the Mexican classic job that we do
Wow.
over there.
Yeah. That brings me to my next question. So he was working on construction. So obviously you asked him all the time to try to spend time with you and whatnot. He denied you for whatever reason. So with that being said, you guys never even had the opportunity to take pictures together, right?
Exactly.
So tell us about the part where you went to the construction site and you saw to take your stepdad something, and
I was around, if I'm not mistaken, around 12, 13 years old already.
uh-huh.
my father, the person that was raising me, and I called father in that time,
Right.
he was in charge in a construction
Uh-huh.
site. And I didn't even know if he was hired my real father
Wow.
to work there because he needs a job too.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Wow.
Without no knowledge, one of those days that I was doing pretty much every day, I was taking lunch to him because it was a short distance.
Right.
I can walk to the site. That was, close to our place where we was living at that time.
Uh-huh.
And the regular around 12 o'clock noon, I was walking over there to the construction site to bring my father's lunch.
Right.
I get there, and I know exactly the area where I was supposed to be doing because I was doing it before, of course, more than once.
Right.
I was setting up everything on the table that he got there. I found the food, display everything. They always, he likes. And he came in that moment when the was almost finished.
Uh-huh.
And he said to me, please wait a few seconds. Somebody want to talk to you. Want to see you. It's like, somebody want to see me. I was thinking maybe one of the old guys,
Right.
in another construction. I got so many, my father's friends, they always like me,
Right.
I was almost complete finished from the food and everything for him. And in the back, I just heard, the voice of my father. And it's like, hey, your father is here. And I turn around. And I see my real father, of course. And he tried to, say something to me. And I talked to my father. For some reason, already my brain was, blocking me really quick and say, wait a minute. This person is not my father. You are my father. And I don't want nothing with this person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And just without give you any explanation and anything, I just walk away. And after that, the last time I think he resembles to him was in public transportation. I was around 14, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was him. That was the last time I really think I see him. After that,
No more.
no more.
So, man, thank you for sharing this story, man. So you guys actually had an opportunity to talk about the situation. He saw you, you saw him, but you guys just went your separate ways.
Yes.
What do you think made you guys not say anything? Does it have to do with pride? Does it have to do with ego? Does it have to do with any of that?
To be honest with you, I can actually tell you I was a dumb kid in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb teenager.
Yeah.
Like too many.
And you as a kid, obviously you're a kid, but what do you think was holding him back from coming to you to talk to you?
I heard so many rumors about supposed to be that was telling him was worth it because he's going to get too much in trouble with my parents that was taking care of me. And he was afraid, supposed to be, to have a relationship with me.
Wow.
Because by that time.
Do you buy that?
And be honest with you, what I can tell you,
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, I just move on very much.
Right.
It still hurts.
Right.
It still hurts because you want to grow up and say, this person helped me or this person do this for me.
Mm-hmm.
I got the old man to take care of me for so many years and I'm really grateful. But it's a part of me that's still missing that connection.
Yeah.
Really hurts over the years. But it's part of life, what we say around, no? Something I was never going to get why things happen like that. So to people like us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been hard. And I'll be honest with you, I regret part of that conversation now.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever is done is done.
Right.
You know what I can do.
Yeah.
Nothing to fix anything. I don't know if he's alive. I'm not gonna lie to you. The last thing I know, he's still living, was but almost 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I completely stopped being in relationship with my family for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue, nothing. If he's still around. I know I have half brothers,
Mm-hmm.
half sisters for his side. But my biggest, regret is not having a picture with him.
Mm-hmm.
To actually have a memory list.
Thank you, brother. Amen. Appreciate you. These topics are hard, bro. Believe me, when I sat down with my dad, I broke down, but you know what? We got it out. It was a sense of kind of healing, But I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man.
No, thank you.
Sorry.
No,
You had to.
Hey, I will be honest with you. I was not expecting to hit me like this right now. I just not even.
I know.
I was nervous to actually, talk again about this. After the last
Yep.
time, I was telling my wife,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like something was open
Right.
again. Like I tried to block this for so many years, and
But it's good
yeah,
to let these
yeah.
feelings and emotions out, because the more we block, the more it pins us down, and you never know how we can explode.
Yeah.
So it's good to have someone who has a similar story. So that's why I appreciate you guys, because you guys are helping me out.
Yeah. God damn it.
So
50 years old.
it is fulfilling to know that the journey of finding the unanswered questions about the absence of my father in my childhood and why we had no pictures together is now complete. It took the encouraging words of a friend and the swallowing of my pride to ultimately lead to those answers. I embarked on this journey first for myself, and then for the relationship between my father and I. But through the creation of this documentary, I encountered so many people with similar stories. The problem that was consistent with the majority of these stories is that pride and ego blocks us from discovering our ultimate potential for personal freedom and growth. Now, if we swallow our pride and set aside our egos, we then allow ourselves the opportunity to discover our maximum potential for personal freedom and growth. Will you be the next to discover yours? Cool. Look at T.O. Look at T.O.
Crazy.
Look at T.O.
Guys, I just signed for $41 million, and man, it's incredible what's happened with me. I'm the number one wide receiver in the nation, and no one can beat my record. No one, you guys. But anyway, it's just cute.
So tell us your name.
Right. It was a career goal because, and while he was doing that, he was getting his master's and he was working on his PhD when he died.
Right.
So at this point, I said, you know what? I'm not worried about did I make my parents proud of me, my brother's proud of me. It's not about them.
Right. Behind the scenes setup. Right here.
How you doing? You look just like my little Bella. You smell Bella on you? You don't smell Bella on you? Huh? Bella, she protesting.